All right. Hello and welcome to the Business Octopus live stream. Forgive me, social media. It's been a while since my last confession. I had a couple of weeks where I've been traveling a bit and wasn't able to do the live stream as frequent as I would like. Hopefully, we're back on schedule now. But every Friday, I'd like to come and do these things where we talk about general updates and talk about issues that we've seen throughout the week, talking with customers, dealing with various vendors and partners and things like that, and just share some of those insights. So when you're trying to run your business, when you're trying to make decisions around maybe the software products you're using or some just general business skills, tips and tricks, that you can come and learn from somebody else who's tried it before, stuffed it up, learned it, figured it out, and put stuff into practice. All right, so first thing, the elephant in the room. If you didn't already know, we've got 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. That is quite an effort and quite a milestone. It's been quite a few years in the making. I think early on we started and I dabbled in this and dabbled in that. And we probably only took it seriously in the last year. And in doing so, we got the result. So if you focus on anything, you're going to get the result. And not only did we get subscribers, yes, we got monetized, so we can make a little bit of money on when people watch our videos and things like that. But the value is really in the attention, or in being able to show people your experience, what you know, what you do, why you do it, building that relationship. And, sometimes it's not about finding stuff online. It's maybe I've kind of had these conversations on repeat with customers before. So sometimes what I can do is send a video link and then they can watch the whole series of videos. And by the time I walk in, it's like they already know me. So the video has been very powerful and impactful, just doing that, videos in general. And so one of the things that I think is quite useful in terms of doing YouTube is just that brand reputation. It's so good that we've actually had a lot of people come and reach out to us because of the videos that we've done. So one of the other big wins we've had recently is we won a business award. I don't know if it's going to turn up at the camera very well, but it says the IT Services App Development and Software Development Business of the Year. So someone encouraged me to go for this business award. Wasn't really on my radar of things to do, but then I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring. Turns out there's a few people that think we're pretty good. So that was great to sort of get that validation that the hard work and things that we've done to date has actually been worthwhile. Another thing to update on is the Relevate community. So we've now been running for not quite a year, probably about 9 months. We've got about 220 members online. Then we have a smaller subset of that meet every week on a Monday night. And then we've got now the WhatsApp community as well. If you're watching this retrospectively, I'll put a link in the comments, but you can go to join. Here we go. I've got a banner for you. There we go. join.relevate.com.au. So we talk about all things digital transformation. And, it's the fish that John West reject that make John West the best. So we have a banned list. There's a certain type of person that's not allowed because we want to make sure that there's high quality in the in the community. All right. So, we've been doing face-to-face catch-ups as well. So the WhatsApp group is great for in-between times. And we've got an online portal where we do chats and things about the various sort of happenings and learnings and information that we've shared And then with the face-to-face catch-ups, we get to sort of like solidify those relationships and really drive them forward. It's about strategic introductions, not about, like networking per se. All right. And so, the next one's coming up in the 21st of August. So don't forget to jump in and register on that one. You can look it up. It's the Relevate Community Face-to-Face Meetup, and you can find that on Eventbrite. I will also share the link. Now, I also have to give a special thanks to Kirsten Delena, who is one of our supporters on YouTube. She has signed up as a supporter. So just a special mention and a thank you to you, Kirsten. So if anybody else would like a special mention, you know what to do. All right. So I want to talk about a couple things, two important topics that came up for us this week, not only ourselves internally, but also for our customers. And that is to build your knowledge base. This is probably one of the most important things to do. Now, I know a lot of times people sort of think, oh, yeah, this is just like how-to guides, procedures, and stuff like that. And it is, but sometimes it's, there's other resources, there's other learnings, or even it's not all the information. You don't have to recreate the wheel. Maybe you could just point people in the direction of other information. It's sort of like a high level of this is what you need to know and why. Here's where to find a whole library of resources over there. But more specifically, your knowledge base should speak to your own version of the way to do things. So you might have customized something in your own business. Now you need to create a article to explain how that's different, why it's different, and why it's useful. We should also be building our knowledge bases in collaboration with our team. So if you have staff, you really need to be involving them in the process. I have a lot of assumed knowledge. I think that people know what I know, or I feel like people should know what I know. But the fact is that they don't. And the same goes the other way. Everyone has a different life experience. And I can sort of presume things, whether I know it or not. I can write something down and I'll write it the way I think it should be written. But it's not until you involve other people in that conversation and really show them or give them the opportunity to provide feedback that then you realize they had a knowledge gap. They didn't understand this, or they needed more explanation on something that you thought was, well, naturally everybody knows that. Because what you're doing is you're providing a centrally accessible and accessible physically, but also accessible in terms of being able to consume the information, document or repository of information that allows everybody to be able to pick it up and run with it. Ideally, simple as best, give it dot points, step 1, do this, step 2, do that. And excuse me, if you need a further breakdown on what this or that means, then you can do that breakdown or have a link to another document, so you don't over pollute that one particular thing. You can say related information. So say, for example, this particular solution is a little bit of a gray area, like it's pretty close to 3 things that could solve this problem. Add links to the other documents that solve that problem, so that if that person is there and they only happen to find one of them, then you know that they're going to be able to find the others and say, if you found this solution, you might also find one of these other 3 useful. And maybe here's a guide as to define which process is the most appropriate for your particular problem. So that just makes it easy for people to find, because sometimes when, and even having one central space that people can share and comment on, commenting is really, really valuable. Maybe someone put something in there to say, I don't understand this, can you do it better? Or here's an update. Maybe if your team can also edit the live document. It depends on your process. If you need other people to provide input, maybe early on you can be scrappy and let anybody put information in there. But at a certain scale, if it's really important, you need a knowledge manager, someone who's the person structuring and keeping order, because otherwise it's going to get messy. All right, so that's knowledge management. The next thing I want to talk about that's come up this week is SaaS software license fees. So SaaS software is a redundant acronym or contraction, software as a service. So software as a service, there is so many people, and even us, spending money on software they don't need. But how much of it? And what's your risk profile? And how do you know what's in your own ecosystem map? As many times as you hear someone says you need the all-in-one platform, the fact of the matter is there's those edge cases. There's things in your business you need to do, and maybe there's one platform that does it better. And I know that you don't want to be chasing the shiny app syndrome. You need to be picking the tool that is right for your business, and right for your business from the perspective of it either does that cool thing that you like, which is not really the best decision case. Maybe the customer interacts with it better. So, for example, I've got an all-in-one software platform that I use, but the calendar booking tool is average. So I use a different one. I use Calendly. So that's fine. I integrate it and I wear that cost and I wear that extra risk. But I know that the customer receives the email and the calendar. It goes directly. That's not an ICS file. It goes directly onto their calendar. It works 99% of the time really, really well. The other one probably works 50% of the time. And it's not as UI friendly. It's not as user friendly. It's not as clean and easy to see what to do next. So sometimes you make decisions based on that. But I've made that decision based on a lot of thinking and a lot of testing. Not just going, oh, here's a new thing, let's buy that and then plug it in, and then complain when you can't integrate 50 things later. You've got 20, 25 software applications in your business ecosystem, you've got too many. If you've got 3 to 5, you're doing all right. That's pretty good. You might have more, you might have less. Sometimes you kind of need to have a suite of tools because, for example, even though we use another platform that has a writing application, a sheets application, and a presentation application, we still use Microsoft because it's generally accepted by the people who are receiving the file type. So there's decisions to be made from your external stakeholders to your internal users to your software buyers. So to stitch that relationship together, there's some things to be aware of. Is one, how much are you paying for each of these little applications? And sometimes the expensive thing is expensive, but it might actually be cheaper if you're then buying 50 other things external to it. But if the expensive thing is so complicated that no one knows how to use it and no one is using it, then they're going to want to have all these things off to the side anyway. That's where you get shadow IT, people buying things that the company doesn't actually use or need because, well, it's shadow IT. Maybe the IT department doesn't know about it because that person's been told you need to do this job and they feel like they're roadblocked on this behemoth software that they don't understand, can't use, doesn't really do the job. Like, for example, SAP, it should be called spreadsheets and politics because the members internal to the organization say, you'd be surprised how much our organization runs on spreadsheets. So much for a big ERP software platform that's supposed to be the be all and end all. They've got so much bloat. They charge so much money for their platform, literally millions and millions of dollars. And the value that it brings as a return, just so someone can say, I put that in and it covers all of these risk things. And so I won't get fired. But millions and millions and millions of dollars later, the company's still not making money. Or they're spending all this money on software that's not getting used and it's not generating an ROI. Now, sometimes ROI is not quantitative. There we go. That's the word. It's a little bit qualitative in the sense that, if I put $1 in, I should get $2 out. sometimes you can measure that with, like I went marketing, I ran a trade conference. It cost me $5,000 to run. We got 50 customers. They spent $5,000 each. Therefore, we made a return. That's an easy quantifiable number. But maybe there's staff churn, which you're probably not going to figure out until 6 months later. When you implement this system, they're banging their head against the wall, go, I hate this. Or there's another job that looks good. I'm going to go over there. Or maybe there's the fact that you spend all this money on training and then no one uses it anyway. So making the right decision can be really important. The vendors are always going to tell you our solution is the best. So you can't really go to them for help or guidance. Or maybe they'll tell you, yes, you can pay for this extra service. Or maybe they'll tell you, you can buy more licenses or a different add-on or something like that. But they're not really going to give you they're not going to say no to you necessarily. They're not going to say, you don't need that. They're going to say, sure. How many licenses can I sell you? So understanding the motivation behind each of these players is really, really important. So I've had software vendors that I've worked with that would call customers and say, hey, can you sign the deal this month because I need to meet my sales targets? Rather than saying, what do you need to do in your business? What's your timeline? What do you need to achieve? How do we help you do that? So I think that's generally a misaligned purpose. And often these platforms, once you sign, you've signed your life away. You're locked in. You can't scale it up or down. Generally, you can always scale up, but you can't scale down. So you can't scale the licensing appropriate to your business in some organizations, particularly the bigger ones, because they say, this is a contract. Every time you add a license, that's it for the rest of the life of the contract, which could be 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. So you need to make sure that ideally it's appropriate. Like if you have some issue and have to cut 30% of your staff 12 months down the track, that licensing cost is still there. You can't scale it down. So it would be much better to have something that's a little bit more pay as you go. Sure, you might save money on contract, but you're probably going to lose money because they're not going to allow you to go up and down with the business changes and shifts. And then software vendors lie. There's been plenty of cases in the news lately around organizations such as, hello, thank you for watching. Yes, so there's been plenty of cases where software vendors have been sued because the software doesn't do what it says it would do. And this is after the organization has spent $20 million, $50 million implementing it. This has been the case with a council in the UK. I believe off the top of my head, it's the Birmingham City Council or something like that. And so anyway, they spent all this money on NetSuite and went, nah. And then they decided to sue NetSuite. And now they're going with SAP. And I'm pretty sure they're going to have the same issue in a few months' time. So it's either been that they've overpromised and said, yes, we can do it. Or maybe they just haven't said, you really shouldn't do this. You don't actually need that feature. Unless there's a real business case and a real business value, don't do it. No one's told them no. So maybe there's some no's in there. That's not completely true. But on the broad scale of things, like maybe sort of talk back to them and say, well, what you really need to do is this rather than that. And that might be a better way. So you kind of got to fight both sides fairly. So software company or people that are generally buying software for their business, it's probably because the CIO, CTO has come in and said, oh, well, I used this at the last company and it seemed all right. But there's a huge range of other factors that weren't considered in that comment. Like maybe they were more technologically advanced as a range of staff, or maybe their business operations were very simple, or maybe there was a particular affiliation with that. They used it because they got a kickback or something like that. you really need to understand the motivations of why people choose X, Y, or Z. And no platform's going to be perfect, so you really just need to find the best of both worlds. And now with AI, everybody's saying, "Oh, we need AI, we need AI." There's now a ton of projects in AI that have failed, and there's no real standout advantage. Yeah, everyone should use it because there's no competitive advantage. Everybody has access to the same level of technology. If you're going to go and buy this expensive thing, unless you've got millions of records in your database that are current, fresh, up to date, it's not going to provide you any unique insights. Anybody can type a prompt in and get some funky image out of, Midjourney or whatever it is. So, can you really stand out? No. I mean, you can be a first mover and adopt it faster than someone else will. You can save a bit of time, but so can the next person. So what's the true advantage? The true advantage would be providing a very unique insight about a specific customer in a very short period of time to then go and approach that customer and say, hey, can I interest you in X? Or would you like to do this? Or if we change that, would you stay longer? That would be more valuable than making a cookie image or doing a quick spreadsheet or something like that, because now everybody can do the spreadsheet. Yes, everybody should know how to use AI, but it's not now. It's just so accessible now that there's not a competitive advantage or unique advantage that somebody else couldn't get in the next 6 weeks doing a couple of courses and playing around. Anyway, that's the thoughts for today. Thank you very much for listening. If you've been watching, then please do reach out. Go to relevate.com.au, jump on the chat. Otherwise, would love to see you in the Relevate community. So that link again. So you can just see it on the screen now, join.relevate.com.au. And I do aim to do these every week, but sometimes life gets in the way. So a big thank you again to Kirsten for becoming a supporter on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who subscribed, and looking forward to catching up with you next week. Thank you.